Live better and longer with the Fitzness Show, hosted by fitness expert, author, and TV personality Fitz Kohler. She'll tell you why diets are dumb, supplements are snake oil, and the truth about how you can earn a lean, hard, pain-free, and athletic body. Now for our favorite bossy blonde, Fitz Kohler.
Well, hi, team. I'm Fitz Kohler, your very lucky fitness pro from fitzness.com, and welcome to the Fitness Show. Today, I am feeling mega fortunate, super lucky, gonna buy a lottery ticket because yesterday I was in a crazy car crash. Now, mind you, you might be thinking, hey, lady, getting into car crashes is not lucky at all. And that's true. However, I really feel like this car crash could have been way worse for both myself and the lunatic Neanderthal reckless driving woman that I collided with. And so, yeah, I'm feeling lucky. I'm a count your blessings type of girl. And yeah, so let me tell you about it. And I hate to seem all giddy about a car accident. I'm not. It's annoying. It's frustrating. It's a pain in the can. However, there's the bright side to everything. And I'm a bright sider, and you should be too, for crying out loud. In fact, I posted on Instagram. You know, I hate it when people are like, just want to let you know I got in a car accident. But then sometimes I feel like it's my responsibility to share the bright sidiness, right? And help people learn how to make lemonade. And so I posted about how good things were despite my car crash. And y'all were very sweet, very sweet. And you know, you see me post a message and I say, I do not want pity. I don't need concern. I'm fine. And when I say that, I mean it because I have pure disdain for pity, pure disdain. And I'm certainly yesterday nor today am someone who deserves either of those things. I'm fine. Hopefully I got a little tightness in my back. I'm hoping that's no big deal, but what else, right? No biggie. So yeah, so many of you responded to that and said, like, thanks, I needed to hear that. Apparently something's going on in your life, and maybe you just needed a reminder that it's okay to be happy when shitty things happen, because you know what? Shitty things are going to happen, and it's your choice. Choice, that's the main word there. You can choose to be happy anyways. And so this is how the accident went down. I was driving to a lunch meeting with a University of Florida guy, and happy as a can be. My Jeep is a 2008 Jeep Wrangler JKU. It's red. It is beautiful. It's convertible. It's got the black top. I've got an American flag in the grill. My tires are big and my bumpers are made of cast iron. I mean, this thing to me is heaven on earth. In fact, my very first vehicle when I was 16 was a Suzuki Samurai. And if you remember those, it was like a baby Jeep. It looked like a Wrangler, but teeny tiny. And the commercials on TV, all the drivers passed each other and went beep, beep, hi. And that's pretty much why all the Wrangler people still do the Jeep wave. If you're familiar, we all wave to each other. It's a thing, and it's a nice thing. In fact, sometimes I drive the Subaru my son drives, and I'll wave at the Jeep people and they don't wave back. And I think, why aren't they waving to me? And I go, oh, that's right, I'm not in my Jeep, which is weird. But I start out my driving experience with this baby Jeep. It was stick shift. It was 4-wheel drive. It was fantastic. And then I think I drove it until I got to grad school. And then at that point, some part of the engine cracked and I needed to get rid of the Samurai, which I did. I was sad, but I upgraded. I bought myself a brand new 2-door red Wrangler, which was wonderful. And, you know, I was working and it was definitely the first car I ever bought for myself. And I just loved it too. Stick shift made me happy. And I had that for many years. And then I got pregnant. And I very much knew that it would be irresponsible to put a baby, an infant, in the back of this 2-door Wrangler because my back seat was connected by like a hook. It wasn't bolted down. It was very, very mobile. And I thought that would be dangerous for Ginger. So I got rid of the Wrangler and tragically got myself a 4Runner. And the 4Runner is a very reliable SUV and it was wonderful, but come on, it's not the same as a 4-wheel drive Wrangler, and I suffered. I've suffered a little bit. Ginger was a fair exchange. But anywho, 4Runner, and I've had a bunch of SUVs since then. And, you know, along the way, since the kids were born, I've pined for another Jeep. And just decided, well, I like the convertible Jeeps and you can't leave things in them. So I travel a lot. Ginger had a French horn in middle school, and I thought, well, I can't leave a French horn in the back of a Wrangler. It's a $3,000 equipment instrument, if not even more. And then someone will steal it. So I just decided one day I'll get one, but not today. And then when I did cancer, life took a real big dive, right? The quality of my life was stinky. It wasn't fun. It was hard. Everything was hard, and being sick felt bad. And it was at one particularly miserable moment where I thought, you know what? When I'm done with this, I'm going to get myself a Wrangler. That's going to be my end of treatment present. I mean, besides just being alive, right? Besides just being done with treatment and having beat cancer and being alive, I thought, golly, my quality of life is so terrible right now. I am going to drastically improve it by buying myself a Jeep. And so it took a few months to find the right one, but I did, and it's perfect. It's a 2008, and you know what? I don't have any desire for a 2025 with heated seats and I don't know, all the things. This Jeep is scrappy, just like me. It came with a dent, which I love this. It's just a little dent, but I love it. It's imperfect, just like me. I mean, the windows were cracked, the plasticky windows, and I had to replace them. But I just love this thing. And it is stick shift. And note that every single time I sit down in the seat of this vehicle, I'm grateful and I am joyful. I am happy. It just fills my heart with joy. And I drive over things all the time. I'm not a reckless driver. I'm not a jerk, but I drive over medians and I drive over curbs and I like to park, out in the field where no one wants to be. And I think last week I was telling you, I went out to do donuts in this muddy area of a field to just cover it with mud because it just, again, makes me happy when it's splattered with mud. So there's just a lot that goes into this, and it's not my identity. I'm not a Jeep person. People have given me the ducks. I give them away. I don't need to have anyone think that other people think my Jeep is great. It's my Jeep. I love it. Makes me happy. And I really enjoy the process of driving stick shift. And also it makes this sound. It's like vroom, vroom when I pull up. And when I turn it on, it's got a purr, kind of like a growl. And it's great. It's great. And I also have to climb up into it. That's another thing. The tires are so big now that I have to hoist myself into my seat. And it makes me giddy. So you're probably sick of hearing about this stupid car of mine. But anyways, I love it. It's not just a car. It's a joy mobile. And it's meaningful to me. So now we go back to yesterday where I'm driving down this 3-lane road. It's actually 6 lanes, 3 going each direction. There's a median in the middle. And I'm in the far left lane. And there's the middle and the right lane. There's a stop. Like the traffic up ahead is moving to the right. So they've slowed down. So this foolish imbecile, I have a whole bunch of names I'm going to toss out for her today. The foolish imbecile, she sees these first 2 lanes are stopped. And so she just bolts out of her apartment complex, assuming, or I guess hoping, lane number 3 was also open, but it wasn't because I was barreling down the road at 40 miles per hour or whatever. And so she just darts right out and I see it and I slam on my brakes so hard and she keeps moving and I just couldn't do it. I couldn't stop fast enough. And so the front left corner of my Jeep slams into this woman's back left corner of her. Well, it was like a Hyundai Tucson or something like that. I'm sure it's a great car, but it's stupid. Anytime I see a Tucson right now, in the future, I'm going to think of this boob, this brainless boob that made this moronic decision. And so smash into her. And then, my car still keeps moving forward an extra, 10, 20 feet. I come to a stop. She was trying to make a left turn. I'm sure she probably would have hit somebody in that other oncoming traffic too, had I not hit her first. But yeah, so she's over there now. And so I throw my Jeep in park and I was like, fuck, excuse my language, podcast listeners, but that's what I said really loudly. And in my mind, I was like, oh no, GB. My bestie and Christy and we call it GB now. And I was thinking, I love this car. Don't hurt this car. But anyways, we stop and I feel I'm okay. And I throw the car in park and I'm looking around. I can't find my cell phone because I want to call for help, but I can't find it. So I get out. And here's the thing. I truly believe that accidents happen, right? The little fender benders of this, that. Sometimes accidents just happen, and maybe it is someone's fault, but they didn't mean it. They weren't reckless and whatever. This, what's the perfect name for her now? Dipshit was reckless. She was absolutely reckless with her life and mine, and I was pissed. I was absolutely livid, and it really wasn't over my beautiful Jeep being damaged. And mind you, when I got out of of my car, my fender flare, which is a very cool, fancy, extra fender flare, had been ripped off. It was dangling off the side. I didn't take too much look at the damage in my car. I just I just was pissed off. So I went charging back towards her. And now all the traffic around us has stopped because people have seen the accident and I'm sure some of them are calling 911 or whatever. But I go just, what I want to do is I want to go just shove her. I just want to go shove this imbecile. And violence is not the answer. But that was my urge, right? So I start charging to her and I say, what the fuck were you thinking? That was reckless. What, you could have got us both killed. And she's yelling back. She's pointing at her face. She's going, I didn't see you. Well, of course she didn't see me because she flew out from the apartment complex without even being able to see the third lane. She didn't even try to see me. And so I'm charging towards her. And thankfully there was a Florida Highway Patrol. There was a trooper already there. And so he just kind of like walks between us and gave me a little like, it's okay, lady, you can calm down. But calm down is such a terrible thing to say to a woman. Don't ever, ever, ever tell a woman to calm down because nothing is less calming than being told to calm down, I assure you. But he gave me the like, you don't need to shout. And I did. Here's the thing. Violence, not acceptable. I hope I would have restrained myself. I think I really just wanted to give her what for because I was angry. I hope I wouldn't have laid a hand on her. But sometimes people need to be told off. I completely believe in that. And when she risked our lives, yeah, she deserved to hear it. And here's the thing. I mentioned my bumpers are cast iron. If she had not made it so far across my lane before I hit her, I likely would have killed her. There is no doubt in my mind this woman would be a quadriplegic. She would have brain damage. She would have lost limbs. My Jeep is like a tank. She would have had a lifetime of horrific pain and suffering had she not been so fortunate. Had I not hit the brakes so hard and had she not moved across the lane at the speed she did. And that would have been like obviously her fault, but then I would have had to deal with that for the rest of my life because of course, instead of cursing her out, I would have went running to her aid and I would have seen her partially dismembered body floating around her stupid Tucson. And I would have had to, jump into first responder, delivering aid to this woman who tried to kill us both. So I was really mad about that. She needed to hear it. So she's shouting, pointing at her eyes. I didn't see you. I'm like, you didn't try to see me. And yeah, what she didn't say was, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. That was terrible. I'm sorry. Like that would have been the right thing to say, but she didn't. And I'm quite a bit irritated by that. And I know, legally your insurance company maybe doesn't want you to confess to doing something wrong, but it's the right thing to do. And again, if it were an accident, this wasn't an accident. This was reckless. This was careless, terrible. Perhaps she needs to have her license stripped for 6 months to learn her lesson. But yeah, she needed to hear it. So I do not regret shouting her down. So the other thing is I was dressed up kind of cute for my meeting. It was a professional thing. And so I just imagine I am waiting for the video to pop up on Instagram. Some Gainesville person who saw me out there point my finger, shouting like the little hostile blonde lady is shouting at the big jerk who's a bad driver, the blind driver. She's like the 3 blind mice. But anyways, I'm waiting for video of me shouting at this woman in the intersection to reveal itself because I believe it's there. There were too many people around for someone not to have pulled out the camera. So I hope if you see it, you enjoy it, you get a laugh at my fury because I was mad. So anyhow, trooper tells me, okay, you can stop shouting at her now. And I said, okay. So I go back to my Jeep and I'm looking for my phone, and it's Lord knows where it is. It just flew. What was I listening to? Which let me tell you, I was not distracted driving. I was not texting. I was listening to the Megan Kelly podcast, who's awesome. She's a real smarty pants, but I was listening to her, and she had some health expert on. It was a great conversation. And so, yeah, my phone went flying. I found it up underneath on the floorboard of the driver's seat, way up high. And so I get it, and then I pull it out, and I'm still mad. I'm still mad. And the trooper comes over, and I said, I go, I need you to stay here so I don't go kick her ass. And he's like, okay. He's got this big, stupid smile on his face, like, oh, we got a live one here. But anyways, the moral of the story is I did not beat her up. I wanted to beat her up. I shouted, and fine. So now I'm sitting there with my Jeep, and the fender flare, which is the big thing that sits over my left front tire. If you look at any Jeep, you'll see the fender flares. They're made in different shapes, but mine was super fancy. It's black with these bolts all over the place. Super cool. But yeah, so mine's now ripped off, and it's dangling like under the tire. And the trooper asked, can you get it off the road? I'm like, okay, this is going to be fun, but fine. So I shut my door. Thankfully, the Jeep runs. I'm able to drive over the median with this fender flare dangling and scratching against the ground, making a horrible sound. And I pull off into a driveway behind the University of Florida to one of our museums for safety. So I get over there, and then there's a man with an electric wheelchair. He has only one leg, which is why he uses that electric wheelchair. And there's two little doggos with him. And he goes, I saw it. And I said, oh, you saw the accident? He goes, yes, I was in the median. I was on the median. I saw her coming, and then I saw you coming, and I knew you were going to collide. So he gunned it on his electric wheelchair to get out of the way. He goes, but I saw it. It was her fault. And I'm going to stick around and tell the cops what I saw. And I said, oh, thank you so much. So thankfully, that man was okay. It would have been horrifying if this imbecile's efforts got this complete innocent bystander who was already disabled hurt even worse. I mean, that just would have been catastrophic. So thankfully, Ed was okay, and he stuck around. And long story short, there was a trooper, there was a city police officer, and then there was a police service technician came out and did the report. Ed gave his report of what happened, and then the big boob, she also gave an honest assessment of what happened. So she did not lie, it sounds like. It sounds like her story was like Ed's, and then they asked me, and mine was the same. So all three of us reported the truth, which is good, right? And then she has good insurance. That's another thing. When I got the report, I saw Geico on it. I'm a State Farm customer, which is great. And she's Geico. And I've actually been hit by other people who were insured by Geico, and Geico pays, and they take good care of their claims. So I'm in the process right now. It's taken a little longer than I would have liked, but I finally got a rental SUV. So now I have transportation. GP is, I drove it home yesterday, but there's something going on. That front left side is kind of shaky. My steering wheel, normally the Jeep logo on the steering wheel is upright. And now in order to move forward, the steering wheel is upside down, which it makes me a little stressed thinking hopefully there's nothing with one of those big words like axle or ball joint. Mind you, I'm saying words. It's like I just spoke Russian. I have no idea what those things are, but they sound like scary things that sometimes they total cars over. So please cross your fingers that GB is repairable and I get her back, because there is no other Jeep for me. I mean, golly, it would make me so sad. I don't want to have anymore. So I want her. That's it. I just want her. And I'm crossing all the parts, my legs and my toes and my fingers, and braiding my hair that GB is repairable. So please, I'm not going to ask you to pray for her, because there's no reason to bring God into this. That would be excessive. But the crossing of the parts would also be nice. So here's another nicety. I mean, when I shared my post, it was really just to encourage you guys to look on the bright side. However, one of my sweetheart friends, I've never had this before, and I don't want anyone else to do it, but I get a text and it says $5. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And then the next line said, hey, I imagine you're going to be sore tomorrow and you're going to need some Diet Coke to make you feel better. So he sent me $5 via Apple Pay. I think you can just send people Apple money via their phone number. And it was very sweet and very funny. And I told him I would buy 6 decaffeinated Diet Cokes into my little Yeti cup. So what a nice thing to do, right? What a very nice thing to do. And mind you, that's something you can do for somebody you care about. If they've had a bad day, that $5. It wasn't 50, it was 5. And it totally, cheered me up. I was already cheery, but it delighted me till no end because it was such a surprise. So anyways, thank you. You know who you are. Thank you for the decaffeinated Diet Cokes and for the love of anteaters. That is my anteater friend who bought me the Diet Cokes. And yeah, Diet Cokes and anteaters are something special to share in common. So anyways, hopefully the car gets fixed. I'll keep you posted on that. And thanks for listening to my story. And also know this, I was thinking maybe I should do an episode on all the fist fights I've been in because believe it or not, I have been in actual street fights. Now, I was a competitive kickboxer. I did that for a long time. That doesn't count. I've been in fights, actual fist fights with humans that were not wearing gloves and there was no referee involved. And I'm not above it. If I have to throw down any day, I mean, it's such a great opportunity because I haven't struck anyone in the head in a very long time. And if somebody deserves it, well, there you go. Especially if they start with you first. That's really the thing. You don't want to throw the first strike, but something's coming your way. All bets are off, right? So anyway, maybe I'll do an episode on my fist fights. If you'd like to hear that, message me, tell me, encourage me, and then I'll do it. Okay. So now I'm going to answer some of your questions. I love giving A's to your Q's. And when I was at Gasparilla, I think on Friday and Saturday, I shared a booth with Meb Keflezighi, our iconic Boston Marathon champion, Olympian, A-plus American runner. He was our celebrity athlete. So he and I shared a booth and we did a book signing together and we did selfies and signed bibs and all sorts of niceties. But one of the things I did is people came up and they were asking questions. So I had them put their fitness questions on video. And now I'm going to answer those questions. Most of them are about running because they were runners at the event, but I'm going to answer them for you. And we will be right back.
Are you looking for the perfect gift for a loved one battling cancer? The Cancer Comeback Series by Fitz Kohler offers hope, inspiration, and practical guidance. With Your Healthy Cancer Comeback, My Noisy Cancer Comeback, and The Healthy Cancer Comeback Journal. These books are a lifeline for all patients and survivors. Right now, you can order autographed copies at a special discount. Show your support and help a loved one go from sick to strong. Visit fitzness.com today. That's FITZNESS.com. Fitzness.com.
We're back. So Dave Metcalf from Cleveland, OH, he wants to know what the best stretches are to do before running. And so with any exercise, you should do a warm-up, right? So running is a vigorous activity. Karate is a vigorous activity. Dancing can be vigorous. Let's think about our professional dancers who are doing high kicks and spins and things. And so your warm-up should reflect the activity you're going to participate in, usually a slower or smaller version of that activity. And so if you're going to sprint, for example, sprinters, they lift their knees really high. They extend their legs further backwards. So they go through this big range of motion. Long distance runners, far smaller of a motion. But let's say our sprinters, right? They even start in a big position. They get down, they've got one leg kicked behind them. That requires flexibility. And so if we're showing up at a start line at 5 or 6 or 7 a.m., there's a good chance our body is not warmed up. Perhaps walking from your car to the start line, that will help with a warm up. But really what you want to do if you're going to go running is run, or we hate the word jog, right? We don't want anyone to call us joggers, but for lack of a better term, let's say we're going to jog a little bit, right? We're going to just go real slow, pick our knees up, bounce, 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 maybe do it for a block and a half. We're going to get our heart rate up and just get the blood flowing through our body. Now, as you get your heart rate up, your core temperature increases. So your body actually starts to heat up, and that's how it becomes more mobile. And I mean, I always correlate that to my pasta comparison. So if you took a spaghetti pasta, the long strings, the long sticks out of the box, they're totally firm. They are not ready to go run a race or dance or anything. They're stiff. However, if you put that pasta in warm water for 5 minutes, it wouldn't be so stiff anymore. It wouldn't be loosey-goosey like the spaghetti that lands on our plate when it's fully cooked, but it would give a little more. It would have some bend. That's what I want you to envision with your warm-up, right? So you're getting your heart rate up, you're increasing that core temperature, you are moving the body parts that are going to move during your sport or workout activity. So walking fast, running slow, or jogging, that's how you do a proper warm-up for that activity. If you are going to do karate or kickboxing, where, in the main event, you're kicking people in the head, you don't want to start off your training with kicking people in the head. You want to maybe do some kicks towards the knee or towards a hip just to get your hamstring loose, get your hips loose, because if you go from 0 to 100, you're likely to tear something. That's really what we worry about is sprains, strains, and tears. If you are not properly warmed up, you may incur injury. And so that's the purpose of a proper warm-up is injury prevention. And so for running, jogging, running at a slow pace, and you could do that until you feel like I'm huffing and puffing a bunch. Usually if you have some sweat that drips from your eyebrow, that's a really good signifier that you are warm, right? And so I like to give these little simple things that you can correlate to what you're trying to achieve. With cardio, we want to do huffing and puffing. That means you're making your heart and lungs stronger. When you're done with a proper warm-up, or at least properly warmed up, that sweat is coming off your eyebrow. Now, once you get there, Dave asked about stretching. So I love static stretching. Static stretching is reaching down, touching, or reaching across, holding that pose that makes you wince without bouncing, right? Ballistic stretching is when you're bouncing. I don't even know when ballistic stretching is good. I don't like it. I don't do it. But before we do static stretching, what I want you to do is dynamic stretching. And so dynamic stretching is increasing mobility, increasing your range of motion while moving, not holding anything tight. So if it's race morning, you're going to do a half marathon or a 10K or a full or whatever, you do a little bit of jogging, and we see a lot of that on race morning, some jogging just to warm up. And then you see people lifting up those knees, right? As they lift those knees, they're stretching out their glutes, right? They're putting their behind their hips through their full range of motion as that knee comes up to your chest. You will see kicks, right? People will walk forward and kick. They'll reach out and touch their fingers. Yeah, crisscross, left foot to right hand, right foot to left hand. That's dynamic stretching. You can lift your knee up and do circles with that knee to loosen up those hips. And so any sort of active motion you can do, active range of motion activities, that's what I'm going to suggest before your race. So it's a proper warm up, and then you go through a range of motion. That's also a great time where you can put your arms up in the air and bend from side to side, twist your body, do rotations, anything that puts you through a bigger range of motion than where you started off in the morning is going to help prepare you and prevent you from injury. And of course, with running, we think we're forward and back, and running is a very small motion unless you're sprinting, right? We lift the knees somewhat. We're not really kicking our butts, so we don't do a full hamstring curls. We don't move to the left. We don't move to the right. We don't spin. We don't rotate. We don't reach. It's a very small motion. Even having said that, I want you to warm up your body and do dynamic stretching in all directions, because if you slip on sand or on a slick surface or on ice, whatever, there's a good chance one of your legs is going to completely dart out to the side or way behind you. And if you're only prepared to go through the small range of motion running requires, you may sprain, strain, or tear something, right? You get that adductor strain. That's your inner thigh. If your foot slides out to the side, off you go. If you're going to slip and both feet go, you might end up in a split position. Can you tear something? For sure. And so always, the more mobile you are, the better. And then if you have strength as well and your balance is great, well, you're going to be unstoppable. So that's my recommendation. And also, once you're done with dynamic stretching, you've gone through a whole bunch of kicks and knee lifts and twists and turns and those type of things. If you need to, if you feel like you still need an extra, then do a static stretch. That's the type for your hamstring. If you You lift one foot, your right foot in front of you on that heel, and then you keep your legs straight and you drop your chest towards your foot. That's how to increase your flexibility in that position. So warm up, dynamic stretching, possibly static stretching, and then you go. And you go and run. I hope that was helpful, Dave Metkiss from Cleveland. Lots to talk about with warming up, but you should warm up all the time. Every time you work out, there should be a proper warm up. So don't disregard it just because you're at the gym or just because you're exercising at home. Please go through a few minutes. Just why not, to prevent injury? Because once you're injured, you've got 2 weeks to 2 months or longer of recovery, and that's no fun. If it's preventable, prevent it. Okay. Laurel Berryman wants to know what to eat pre-exercise. She's looking for energy and food that's easy on her stomach. And so, yeah, a combination of protein and carbohydrates is always the ideal nourishment pre-exercise. The carbohydrates are going to provide either long-lasting or immediate energy. If you stick with whole grains, they are a long-lasting form of carbohydrate. For example, the night before a race or a pickleball tournament, you probably want to have some whole grains. That's long-lasting energy. If you had a candy bar, that would give you immediate energy. Just don't expect it to stay with you to mile 8, right? So healthy carbohydrates and whole grains are an excellent choice. A bagel or one of your favorite energy bars. And then protein. Protein is filling. Protein provides satiety. That's that feeling of fullness, and of course, benefits your muscle. So any combination of protein and carbohydrates pre-race is great. And something that should be easy on your stomach, that has to be your call, Laurel. So for me, if like the night before I ran Boston Marathon, I did not eat a whole plate of veggies at an Indian restaurant, right? I did not go for spicy, and I did not go for roughage. We call veggies roughage for a reason. They are high fiber. They will fly through you. Probably not exactly what you'll want before you're going to go put your body through something so taxing as a extended endurance event. And so veggies every other day of the year, absolutely. However, if you're looking for something gentle, lean protein sources without a lot of spices, and then of course, whole grains. Those are your crackers and your pasta and your bread items, rice. Those will do the trick for you. So I hope that's helpful, Laurel. And then Robert Coates from Lutz, he is 71, and he says that he suffers from tight hamstrings, and he needs to know how to stretch and strengthen them. So I got your answer right here, Bobby Coates. So your hamstring is the muscle between your knee and your rear end, that long muscle in the back of your leg. I think most of you know that. But to stretch it, keep that leg long and then bend forward. That's basically all you can do. So you can do that in a variety of ways. If you're standing tall, you can reach down to touch your toes. Boom, stretching your hamstring. If you're sitting on the ground, you can extend one foot in front of you, bend forward, boom, stretching your hamstring. You can stand up and you can put one foot on a countertop or at the back of your couch and you can lean forward, boom, stretching your hamstring. But the only way to stretch your hamstring is by bending forward or bringing your leg towards your chest. But it is that chest to thigh combination that stretches your hamstring. So easy peasy. You can do that as often as you'd like. So where we're talking about the specific stretching in a warm-up, that's not the only time you can do stretching. The best time to do stretching for progress, if you really want to increase your flexibility for any body part, stretch post-workout, because that means your body is already loosey-goosey hot, just like the spaghetti on your plate when you're eating it. You know how that spaghetti is totally wiggly? Well, that is your muscles at the end of a vigorous workout. And so that's the time where we can make real gains with flexibility. So at the end, just, get down on the ground or stand there, touch your toes, hold the stretch for 30 seconds. And with stretching, You want to go until you wince. You don't want to go until you scream. If you've got that crazy trainer who's going to pick up your foot and shove it over your own shoulder, and he's like, suck it up, and you're screaming, no, that's not okay. We don't want that. We don't want that trainer. We don't want anyone who's forcing torture-style stretching on you. Not all right. Stretching should make you wince at worst, right? You get to a position you think, woo! You might even say woo, right? You wince and woo, that's probably a good stretch. And then just hold it there. You don't have to go any further. You can just breathe deeply and then hold. That is progress enough. You don't need screaming and you don't need torture-like straps. Now, bands can be really helpful for stretching. I like that a lot. Again, with your hamstring, if you lie on your back and you put a strap around your foot and you pull your thigh towards your chest, you'll stretch the hamstring. But yeah, so stretching at the end of your workout, holding each stretch for 30 seconds, whether it's your upper body or your lower body or your torso, that's how you make the most gains with flexibility. However, you can continue to stretch throughout your day, every day, and know that if you're stretching in the morning at your office, you're probably not going to have as much reach as you would stretching at the end of the day or at the end of your workout. But to keep those muscles moving through their full range of motion is a really good idea. And dynamic stretching, meaning just constantly moving through a full range of motion, is also a wonderful plan, not just for your hamstring, but for your chest and your back and your neck. Oh my gosh, I do this like a weirdo. I'm always stretching and it means a lot to me. It's funny, I was talking to my dental hygienist. I got my teeth cleaned today, if you didn't notice. If you can't hear it, my teeth are super clean right now. But she was talking, she also had breast cancer and she was saying blah, blah, blah about this and the limited range of motion. We're talking about radiation. I thought, you know what? I worked really hard on that. That was one of the things. As soon as I was done with surgery, once I got the go ahead, I got that broomstick and I was bringing it up and over. And I still do stuff. I get on an airplane when I'm waiting in line for the bathroom. I'm up there by the stewardesses with my hands on the walls, with my chest forward, just always trying to stretch. So you can stretch 20 times a day. You should tie your stretches to something else that you regularly do. So my hip stretches come every single time I let my dogs out. I have a fenced-in backyard. I open the door, they go out. I immediately drop to the ground and stretch my hips. It has made a world of difference to the way not only my hips feel, but the way my low back feels. So I don't have the pain I used to have before I started stretching aggressively. So perhaps you can really upgrade the quality of your life if you become a regular stretcher too. I know you can do it and you should. So why not? So fantastic questions. Thank you all so much. If you haven't done so, listen, I'm not your financial advisor. Please, God, don't take any financial advice from me. However, this is a great time to buy stocks. The market, when it went down, I thought, oh my God, I got to buy some. This is going to be so good for Fitz Kohler. So I hope whatever amount of money you have, you find a quality stock that's doing poorly and just buy some. And then soon it will be big again, right? Right? When. So I do like that. Let's be smart money people. In fact, instead of taking my advice, go talk to a financial person, talk to a financial wizard, and yeah, make your bank account great again. How about that? And then my song suggestion of the show, because of March Madness. Oh, have I forgotten to mention March Madness? Well, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should acknowledge that the Florida Gators are national basketball champions. That's right. Hot damn. We did it. I knew we would. I had full faith in our team. We have the most lovely group of athletes representing the Gator Nation. These guys are not only talented athletes, but they are so sweet to each other. And they were all unranked in high school. And they really have shown themselves to be just tremendous athletes, and they refused to lose. If you watch the tournament, you know how competitive it was. And I think we were down every single game before we were up. Maybe not the first game. Maybe the first game we weren't down. Maybe we were, I don't know. But it was a consistent theme for the Gators that we would okay to halftime. No, we would be doing bad at halftime. And then in the second half, we just figured it out. And so for the national championship on Monday night, we were down by 12 at one point in the second half. And I was at a sports bar with friends here in Gainesville. I mean, the whole place was packed with orange and blue and joy and excitement. But I never even thought we wouldn't win. I just was waiting for them to come back because that's what they do. They just refuse to lose. And it happened. It was the weirdest final 15 seconds of any basketball game ever. I'm pretty certain. I don't know. I'm not the expert on every basketball game, but it was insane. And if you haven't seen it, go online and look at it. But it was it was so exciting. And when the Houston basketball player Sharp got the ball, he was going to try to throw a 3-pointer. Our superstar Walter Clayton Jr. just jumped really high to prevent that 3-pointer, and Mr. Sharp bounced the ball instead. And then apparently he wasn't allowed to pick it up because it would have been called traveling. The Gators would have got the ball back. So instead, he just like pulls his hands up like the ball was lava. Have you ever heard of that game called The Floor is Lava? Kids play it. And really what they're doing is they know that they can't step on the floor, so they have to move around, and they're climbing all over your furniture, but the floor is lava. That's why. So it looked like he was playing a game of the ball is lava because all of a sudden he wouldn't touch it. And I didn't understand that rule at the time. I was looking, thinking, why won't you pick up the ball, you weirdo? And then our athlete, Condon, he hit it, and then he dove and tackled the ball, and it was mayhem. And so funny because I don't think anybody was even looking at the clock because we were looking at this bizarre situation unfolding in front of us. And then all of a sudden, honk, the buzzer goes off and the Gators win the game. And, oh, just so much joy. It was really fun. And, what a treat to be a Gator. I know hopefully wherever you went to school, if you went to school, you love where you went. You have a lot of pride in all of that. But being a Gator is something special, especially our athletic programs. There's always something to look forward to. I mean, right now, our Gator gymnastics will be playing for the national title, I believe. And baseball's not doing so great, but the last couple of years they went to the World Series. Same with softball, and lacrosse did great. And, there's just always a lot of fun around here. And then, of course, we got the Brain Institute and the Cancer Institute and the Diabetes Institute. And there's a lot of smart people, too. So it's just, it was rewarding. Now, I got to tell you, so I was in a sports bar having fun there, but grown-up fun. It was manicured, right? Nobody went too crazy. But on campus, which was just a few miles from where I was, at the university, there's the O'Connell Center. That's our basketball arena. We call it the O-Dome. And they had a watch party there. And I think there was 12,000 students. It was all packed with students, these kids. It was free to be there, but then they slept out. You sleep out for tickets, or people used to. They slept out doing circles of lines around the O-Dome and around the football stadium so they could be there Monday night all together. And, UF does it right. That arena was packed. There was food. There was jumbotrons, and Alberta was there, our female Gator mascot. And my daughter, who's a senior, Ginger, she's a senior at UF. I had told her, I said, Ginger, you're going to go to the O-Dome? She goes, no, Mom, I don't think I can get in because there's people lined around all the buildings. So she decided to go to a house party instead. And I said, okay, Ginger, go enjoy the party, but know that once we win, and that was it. It wasn't like if we win. I said, once we win, you have to go over to Midtown. Midtown is an area where there's bars and restaurants right across from the O-Dome, which is right in the center of campus. So it's all smushed together. Because when I was a student, when we won 3 national football titles and 2 Gator basketball championships, what happened, and even some other games, mind you, we beat FSU at like a buzzer beater at the end. The stadium pours out onto University Avenue, and then all the traffic stops. You can't move if you want to. If you are on that road, when we have a big win, forget it. You're not going home for hours. And so it was wonderful. I've just seen footage of it on television and on social, but she was able to go be a part of that, and probably 20,000 college students out on that street at least, and maybe some grown-ups blended in, but just cheering and celebrating. And it's just, I love joy. I love watching people celebrate. Truth be told, if the Gators had lost and Houston was on that floor celebrating and accepting their trophy, I would have stuck around to watch that. Even when people beat us for titles, I will stick around and watch the celebration because I love it. I just love seeing people so happy, even if it's at my expense or my team's expense. It's just so wonderful to see the celebrations and the pride. And I just take that all in. I hope you do too. I hope if your team loses, you have the capacity to stick around and benefit from somebody else's success. And so watching all of these Gators out there on University Avenue, again, I wasn't there, but it's just wonderful. And I put myself back in their shoes. And honestly, what an exclamation point on my daughter's senior year to come away with a big national championship. And I don't want to degrade like women's softball. If we won, that would be a big deal, but it's not the same type of intensity that's wrapped around football or basketball. They're big sports, are big popular, big money, big. And she got to enjoy that. She said she stuck around a while and then she thought it was wall-to-wall people. So she got out of that. And I was really proud of her for making that decision as well. And then the other thing I'm really proud of is, you know what? There were no cars set on fire. There were 0 businesses looted and there were 0 cops killed. So how about that? How about celebrating an athletic team without being a dipshit, right? Look at my, this is my most cursy podcast ever between the car crash and this. But yeah, I mean, they were just classy and happy. And we did have one drunk guy who climbed up on a traffic light and they were greased. Law enforcement greased all the poles near Midtown. So I'm not sure how he did it, but good for him, that athletic drunk guy. And he got up on top of the red light situation and he was kind of surfing on it and did a little bouncing. And then he fell off. And I believe what I heard is he punctured a lung and fractured a vertebrae. He's going to be okay. They might press charges. To be honest with you, he only did harm to himself. He didn't loot. He didn't hurt anybody. He was moronic. I'm sure he was jacked up on some sort of cocktail. So even though I'm a pretty big stickler for following the rules, I feel like he's already paying the price. I don't know if he needs a permanent record for being a fool, but whatevs. That's not my decision to make. But anyways, it was so great. It was so great. And then my favorite part, golly, this is my favorite part. So Walton Clayton Jr., again, he's the most outstanding player of the tournament. A real, just a lovely guy. And the whole team, their camaraderie, their brotherhood is so special because they're humble and they try to support each other without taking credit for anything. It's just adorable. But the camera goes to Walton Clayton Jr. He's surrounded by his team. His coach is on his way over. It's on national television. And they ask him how he feels. He goes, what did he say? I can't wait to see my mama. Mama, I love you, girl. Just thought, oh man, could I die right now? I would just die. Why? Because I have a son and I want him one day to win some sort of prize on television and tell everybody he misses his mama and he can't wait to see me. That would be so good. So I have that little clip on my cell phone and now I'm walking around the house every time I pass Park. I'm like, Park, here's your script. Here's your script. And we got Clayton saying, I can't wait to see my mama. Mama, I love you, girl. And so I don't think Parker will ever say that to me unless maybe I'm really tragic or something like that. But I'll let Walter Clayton Jr. say that to me as much as he wants, and it will fill my heart with joy. And I'm so happy for his mom. My goodness, his mother must be so proud. In fact, all of these guys deserve all the credit, and I hope their families are just bursting. Okay, that was a lot. Go Gators. Everybody say it with me. Go Gators. Thank you for all of your support. Again, I'm not even on the freaking team, but I know as your teams fell off in the March Madness situation, so many of you said, okay, Fitz, I'm supporting your team. And I probably get like 35 messages every day from people who traditionally support UCLA or Michigan or Michigan State or Ohio State or even FSU. I've had so many of you say, I'm rooting for the Gators just for you. And so thank you from the bottom of my heart. It just is a wonderful sign of friendship. And I know you were chomping and that made me feel great. Okay, so the song of the show, inspired by March Madness, and I probably wouldn't have gone down this road, but I'm going to do it because when I first heard the song, I thought, oh, it's kind of weird. I don't know. But then as it played through every commercial break of March Madness, it kind of stuck with me. So Lady Gaga's Abracadabra. And if you watch the movie, if you watch the video, it might weird you out, but the song is kind of catchy. That's right. If you hear it 42 times or 142 times during basketball season, then yeah, you may learn to like it. So Abracadabra, go work out to that. You can do any sort of workout you like, but just listen to Lady Gaga's Abracadabra and then try not to have it stuck in your head because it's pretty freaking awesome. All right, communication tip of the week. Are you ready for it? I want you to say hi to everybody this week. Everyone you pass, say hi. Say hi. Just make some friends. Makes other people feel good. Put a smile on your face. Say hi to everybody. You may meet someone nice. You may lift somebody's spirit, and you may come out of your shell. If you're an introvert, it's a good way to practice being extra social. So I love you. Thank you for listening. If you haven't already done so, click follow, click like, leave a review, maybe share the episode with a friend, and get to work. Mwah!
Hi, this is Rudy Novotny, the voice of America's Marathons. We all love how much running has benefited every aspect of our lives, so much so that most of us only wish we'd started sooner. Wouldn't it be wonderful to gift the opportunity to children of today? Well, you can. The Morning Mile is a before-school walking and running program that gives children a chance to start each day in an active way while enjoying fun, music, and friends. That's every child, every day. It's also supported by a wonderful system of rewards, which keeps students highly motivated and frequently congratulated. Created by our favorite fitness expert, Fitz Kohler, Morning Milers across the country have run over 2 million miles and are having greater success with academics, behavior, and sports because of it. The Morning Mile is free to the child, free to the school, and is inexpensively funded by businesses or generous individuals. Help more kids get moving in the morning by visiting morningmile.com. Champion the program at your favorite school or find out more about sponsorship opportunities. That's morningmile.com. Long may you run.